Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We had a pretty good sized storm roll through here the other week, and our old windmill finally bit the bullet. There's just no more I could do for it. Quick update on the garden here. Tomatoes in this new trellis are really starting to take off. As well as the cucumbers on the other side. Piper's fairy garden could use some tending to. I don't think she's looked at it in a week or two. Quick walk around the garden here. Garlic and the flowers are really starting to go. Tomatoes on that back side are really taking off. We're gonna have a lot of tomatoes this year, I think. Peppers on this back wall, and our asparagus doesn't seem to be coming in very well this year. One thing I thought this fire pit always kind of needed was a bench. Well, good thing in this storm I was able to scrounge up a few logs. I believe it's black walnut. I'm not totally 100% sure. I'm not a super big woods guy, but that's what I think it is. Start off by just kind of making these legs somewhat level. Doesn't have to be exactly on. That's close enough. Now, I don't claim to be a master chainsaw operator, but this maybe wasn't the best way to go about it. Trying to cut parallel to the ground and the log next to it. Eventually I did figure it out. Stand it up vertically and cut it top to bottom. Worked out a lot better. Finally I was able to cut through that. There, they look pretty level. Now let's get this top log on there and mark out my notch cuts. I just used my 2 fingers and a carpenter's pencil to act as kind of a makeshift compass. Just get the general contour of the log. Repeat the process on the other side, fairly similar. Now I'll start cutting vertical cuts down to my pencil line. When I was making these cuts, I really got to thinking how some of these early pioneers built their log cabins, or all those guys up in Alaska making these perfect notches so their logs just fit perfectly together so they didn't need any chinking. Different breed then. This is my first real log project. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not a master chainsaw operator, and I don't know how those guys made these perfect notches with just hand tools and saws. I thought I could just take a hammer and a chisel and knock these wedges out of there. And it worked pretty good to get them out, but I quickly realized none of my cuts were the same depth, and I had to do some cleanup. this 20-inch bar chainsaw is probably not the best tool to level out these notches in these legs, for lack of a better term. An adze or some sort of axe would have worked probably better, but like I said, this is my first time and it was a learning experience. Well, I think they got those notches cleaned out fairly good. Let's put this log up here for a test fit. Yeah, that's right. Bend with the back. Sharp twisting motions. Don't use your knees. Not a bad fit for just some chainsaw work. Here's where I realized I made another mistake in this whole project. Again, I was trying to cut horizontal to the ground, and this chainsaw just isn't set up to do that very well. As you can see, my chain started diving into the log, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted a nice flat top cut across it. I don't know why after I saw the first time my blade was dipping down, I thought to continue that line would be a good idea. But I did. Then I had an idea. I remember watching a video of this guy in Alaska, and he was building a log cabin, and he was milling his logs on two sides to stand them vertically, not lay them horizontal like a traditional log cabin. So that's when I decided, well, maybe I should lay this log that way and cut it like he cut his. Now, I didn't have a fancy jig like he did to keep his cut straight, but this seemed to go a lot better. You can see the motion of my saw. There's definitely something going on. Either my bar's mushroomed out or my rakers are too high. Something I'll have to adjust, but I just kind of wanted to get this last cut in because I knew I'd be pretty close to being done if I could get that done. Well, it isn't going to win any beauty contests. And besides this notch on the right-hand side there, it didn't turn out too bad for my first attempt at a log bench. Now just some quick cleanup on the bonfire circle. Just blow some of that sawdust and leaves off. And I'll rake up those bigger chunks that I knocked out for the notches. Yeah, here we go. Lift with your back again. These legs don't seem that big in reality, but that black walnut is pretty dense wood. Like a glove. Little final adjustment here. And I think that should be about it. Now for the final test. See how it feels. I think that's just about the right height too. I'm a little bit wider of a guy, so I kind of take up the whole thing. But I think two smaller people should be able to fit on it no problem. Our dog Willow was sure glad that I was done making noise with the chainsaw and leaf blower. Let's get a little fire going and burn down some of this brush that we have accumulated. Nothing better than the sound of a crackling fire. I think the bench looks pretty good in the spot I put it in. It's just close enough where you can feel a little warmth from the fire, but you're far enough away you feel safe still. I just love sitting out here in the evening with a fire going and watching the sun go down, especially on a peaceful, calm night like tonight. 2 years ago, when I uttered the words Bin Zebo, I never would have thought it would have turned into this. It's been a long journey, a lot of work, but it's been definitely worth it. Thanks for watching. And as always, be salty, stay lit.